Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm heading to work. I'm back to Phoenix. And this morning I stopped to get gas. And I stopped to get gas. And the lady, out here in Phoenix, it's warm. It's warm. Like, it's November. You see, I got a blue jean jacket on. So it's not like on the East Coast where we be wrapped all up. But anyway, I was at the gas station and it was a lady in a SUV in the gas stall next to me. So I said, girl, you must be from somewhere warm because you wrapped all up like it's the snowstorm. She bust out laughing. And it's not a lot of people of color out here, like what I would say, black people or whatever. So when I see black people or these people that look like me, or anybody really, I talk to everybody. But I strike up a conversation. So she stopped. She said, huh? She said, I'm from Memphis. So Memphis, Tennessee. I said, girl, I lived in Memphis before. I loved Memphis. And she bust out laughing. I said, yep, we lived in Whitehaven. And then after that, I got a job in South Haven, Mississippi, which was literally 10 minutes from Memphis. But the housing was better in South Haven. Memphis was still a little crowded. But they were building up more South Haven, that's where you had your Walmarts and they were building like the nice shopping centers and stuff outside of what they call South Haven. And I was a salon regional manager at that point. So I worked in Olive Branch. I would drive to Olive Branch, and then sometimes with the salons, I would have to ride down to DeSoto County. And matter of fact, they wanted to make me I was a district manager. They wanted to make me a regional manager. And one time I drove way to Jackson, Mississippi. But at that time, my children were teenagers, so I wasn't. And the lady, when I went to the interview, they told me I would be living out of my suitcase. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't, go to work and leave my kids. I wanted to be close to my kids. I didn't want them to be, which they probably could have. They're very smart. And I raised them to be very independent. But anyway, when the lady said she moved from Memphis, while we were still pumping our gas, I was like, do you mind me asking you, what brought you to Phoenix? How come you left Memphis? She said, well, both my parents died. And she said, both my parents died, and my brother owned a trucking company out here from Memphis, Tennessee. She said, my brother owns a trucking company out here. And she said, instead of me going to work for somebody else, I just came out here and helped him with his trucking company. And the trucking company just blew up. And girl, I'm telling you, it's a lot of work out here. So I was like, wow, that's a great story. I was like, thank you for sharing that with me. So with that being said, again, I will remind you that God has a land, a milk, a honey for us all. For us all. And sometimes you're afraid to leave that little town or that little place. But honey, as far as my kids is concerned, we left a little town in New Jersey, and I'm glad I left. And I'm glad my kids had an opportunity to see different places and different things. Matter of fact, my great uncle, before he died, I was a young woman and my kids was little, and I knew that my uncle, all his children did good. That's all I know. And he had a daughter and 2 sons. Well, the one son to this day lives in Oregon, of all places. Who would ever thought? Black people from Dover, Delaware, moving to Oregon. And he would always have on Facebook the mountains and how pretty it is. And they living a good life in Oregon. Don't know no more, you don't know none of their business. You don't know what's going on with them. All you know, did you see Facebook? And you know how it is. You look at people on Facebook and they living this lavish life, and you wondering, well, wow, they living good, you know. And here you might find yourself in a situation where you struggling how to get by. And I'm just saying, you don't have to stay there and struggle and just figure out how you get by. If an opportunity come along to do better, take it. Take it. Get your kids out of them little towns. So anyway, back to my cousin from Oregon. I asked his dad, I was like, well, what can you offer to me, the advice to give my children? Because at the time they was little teeny, but 4, 5. Then the girls must have been about 12 and 14. And he said, whatever you do, he said, get your kids out of that little town, which he was talking about Delaware at the time, but we lived in New Jersey. He said, whatever you do, get your kids out of the little town. That was his advice. Now, at the time, the one cousin lived in Oregon, but the other cousin was a bank executive at Bank of America. And that's all you knew about it. You didn't know no more, no less. Cousin Bob was a bank executive at Bank of America. And I ain't know no black people that was no bank executives at no Bank of America. I know some of us was tellers, but I didn't know no physical people that was actual executives where Bank of America paid you to live in Washington State. Washington State, you don't even hear no black people talking about Washington State. But there's jobs out there. Matter of fact, that's the home place of Amazon. But anyway, back to my uncle telling me to get my kids out of that little town. And all I could think of, well, Lord, how am I going to do that? And then, like I said, I was married to their dad, and he was acting plumb fool. And I saved my money, and I visited Memphis, and I had read a Black Enterprise magazine, and it had all the colleges, HBCUs in the United States. And it was telling you what the prices of the colleges. So I noticed the colleges down south, they was like $5,000 a year. And then the colleges up north, they was like $20,000 a year. Now, mind you, this was 20 years ago, almost 10, 20 years ago. So college is way more than that now. So anyway, I saved my money. I visited Memphis. One of my clients, she was like, Memphis is nice, because I didn't want to move to Atlanta, because everybody and their cousin moved to Atlanta. Everybody was moving to Atlanta. So I picked Memphis. Plus, not only that, Memphis, they had G.E. Patterson's church was there. And everything was black owned. And when my kids went to school, all the teachers was black. All the principals was black. And my kids really didn't have no problems in school. But anyway, I moved them from the town we was living in New Jersey. Now, my oldest is 34, so if she was 14, that was 20 years ago. And as of yesterday, because you know how you on Facebook and people steal from that town. You know of my friends, because I had a real big clientele, because I used to do hair. So a lot of my people from when I used to do hair still, follow me on Facebook. And one of the ladies I work with, she passed since I left. But so many people done passed since I left. My age and younger done passed. And then her daughter was posting that one of the cousins passed. He was my age. Well, he might have been a little older than me. And another one of the cousins passed. It's like every other month, somebody in the family was passing. So she was writing that, it seemed like it's a dark cloud over our family. And I wanted to say, have you ever, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if she ever thought about getting her kids out of there. Which, when I get a chance, I'm going to get on Facebook and write her and mention it. But my uncle, he said, get your kids out of that small town. And that's what I did. And we moved to Memphis. My kids had a good time in Memphis. But anyway, back to where we lived in Millville. I just Googled yesterday. Because like I said, the lady I used to work for, her daughter was posting all the, people that had passed in her family or whatever. And a lot of the people from that area I knew. And some of them, they my age and passed. But like I said, God led me to move my kids to Memphis and get out of that little town. You know what? Yes, one Christmas, I worked at Target or somewhere overnight, and I remember like the year before I decided to move. Well, not only that, my shampoo girl, that's another story for another day, but my shampoo girl had got murdered. She was supposed to come to work one day, didn't come to work, come to find out somebody that she knew, another person, I was doing her hair, the lady boyfriend had went in the house and stabbed my shampoo girl. This is what I'm just saying, this little town. But anyway, so I'll just say Cumberland County. So anyway, I seen one Christmas yellow tape. The Christmas, like 2 Christmas before I left, it was a block away from my house, where we owned our house. A block away, yellow tape. So that mean that was a murder scene. And the spirit was like, girl, you gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. Yellow tape. And it wasn't like a block or 2 or 3. It was like a block from where I live. Then you would hear about people being found dead in trash cans. This is a little teeny town. But anyway, I got my kids out of there, moved to Memphis. And they flourished when they was at the schools. They made sure they had set to go to college, which I don't think if we was in that little town, we wouldn't have those opportunities. One daughter, when she was at the schools in Memphis, they sometimes they would have different programs, different rappers would show up. They had a good time in Memphis. But anyway, even though it was a lot to move them and I was scared, I did it, and I'm glad I did now. And that's what the one advice my uncle gave me. He said, get your kids out of that little town, and I did. But anyway, as of yesterday, I was just Googling because I was looking up the city. I was just Googling Millville, New Jersey. And girl, let me tell you, honey child, just as yesterday, I just Googled it, and it just murder. Murder. Now, that's not to say people don't get murdered in other places, and that murder doesn't happen. God bless the parents that lose their children to suicide or murder. But one lady was on there, her daughter, they found her dead. She was laying in the park with three or 4 bullet holes. This is the park I used to take my kids to. This is the park that we had Halloween party. This is where they had the Easter egg hunt. The lady laying there dead. So she never made it out of that county. This is so pretty. Just driving to work looking at the mountains. But if you get a chance, that's your decision. But when your kids is about 11, 12, before they start smelling themselves, if you can move them away to somewhere different so they can have a different experience before they start getting into gangs or start doing crazy stuff, move them somewhere new. Move them somewhere new. This is that before they get them teenage years, like 10, 11, 12, move, And if you can't afford to move them, take them on vacation once a year, twice a year. Take them down south. Send them down south to their grandmas for the summer. Let them have that, they let them know that when you graduate from high school, you going down south. Don't let them just sit there. They graduate from high school, and then they don't want to move, and they don't want to do nothing. Let them have different experiences. Because some of these people, they not making it out alive. Yesterday, well, it's been a week now since she got murdered. 32 years old, 3 kids. Never made it out of that area. I told my daughter, I was talking to my daughter yesterday because she called, she was asking me about something. And I said, that could have been me. That could have been me. That could have been you. But just so happened God allowed us an opportunity to get out. I obeyed His voice and moved. It hasn't been easy, but I'm glad I did it. Like I said, the lady said her brother came out here and started a trucking company from Memphis. Out in Memphis, Yo Gotti brother just got shot. Yo Gotti brother just got shot leaving the all-you-can-eat restaurant. These little towns. And sometimes it be people they jealous because they don't see no way out, so they kind of don't see you getting out. So what do they got to lose? Because nobody can't see their way out. That's my opinion. I think people can't see their way out. And the only way they can see their way out is death sometimes because it's so much. But if you have the opportunity to get out, move your family, and you can find jobs, which I'm going to tell my friend's daughter, the one that she posted about her family members dying, because she's got a good job, but would you get paid $50,000 for somewhere else? They need you bad enough. They might give you $80,000 and pay you some time to move. So, like I said, I looked up the little town that we lived in, and it just said murder. And it was like, not a lot, but it's like, to me, it seemed like people don't get out. And it's a whole world out here. A whole world. I'm out in Phoenix, Arizona. Black lady I just seen at the gas station. She from Memphis. She said, wasn't no need of me staying there. Same people, you go back, it'd be the same people, same situation, same conversation. And people that's there, I don't know how many times you or I have heard stories where somebody was going away to college and somebody shoots them before they get there, before they can get out. Sometimes I'm getting like, what's the use of going back and visit? If they're going to shoot you before you can leave. That means story, just Google it. Such and such was on their way to college and somebody done gunned them down before they can get back out. Sometimes you got to think about it. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Well, I pray that God continues to send me older people, give me wisdom. And like I said, my uncle, he probably was 70, 80 then, but he's going on. But he's my ancestor. But I remember I would sit down with older people and talk to them. And my uncle Cook, and I went to his house one day and I sat down with him. And like I said, for what I know, all his kids was doing good, or at least from what I could see. And not only that, you never heard no more about them or nothing bad about his kids or nothing. They all still living, doing good. And like I said, my one cousin, he lives in Oregon, and like I said, he showed you pictures of the mountains, and they sitting out with the bonfire, sipping on wine. You know how you look at, come on now, you know how you be looking at Facebook, and you living at people, and like, how they living these lives? And it's not expensive. It's just when you get out and see different opportunities, you can do a little bit more. Because everybody's sitting on top of each other, and these little, everybody just crowded. And nobody can't see, the young people can't see their way out, so they start shooting and killing each other. And it don't be the older people, be the young people. Like my shampoo girl, she was like in her 20s. That's another story for another day. Didn't make it out. But I see her daughter on Facebook. Her daughter's grown. Daughter got kids. But like I said, if you get an opportunity, once your kids start getting older, 10, 12, 11, 13, 14, not even, when they start, before they get them teens, move them away. Move them away somewhere different, around different people, so they can see different things. Because when they start getting like that 16, 17, 18, sometimes you can't really, say nothing to them. That way, when it's 18, they not scared to go out. Because they done been to North Carolina. They done been, they done been different places. But they don't go nowhere, don't know nothing. I know my daughter was saying, she was like, when she go back to Millville, she went to a cookout or something. She was, because she's been to St. Croix. She been to Italy when she was 16. The school in Millville, she was in middle school, they had a trip to Italy. She went. Because I always let them go. Just go. But anyway, she was saying that the people in Bridgeton or whatever, she went to a cookout or something, they was like, oh, wow, I've never been left out of Bridgeton. And like I said, some people don't get out alive. My shampoo girl didn't make it out alive. She died. Matter of fact, I will share that story. I had a shampoo girl, and the guy, he walked up in her house. Well, her boyfriend was going, supposedly, quote unquote, her boyfriend, baby dad, whatever, was a drug dealer, and he went to jail for the weekend. And he knew he was going for the weekend. So my shampoo girl, she had a little girl, and she was pregnant. Oh, and I remember hugging her. She was crying, because the other baby mamas wanted to start with her, start drama. But anyway, she would talk to me sometimes. And the guy, he went up in the house and stabbed her to death. Because he didn't expect her to be there. This one particular time, she parked in the garage. And he didn't know she was in there. And the little girl, which the little girl's like almost 30 now, the little girl was in there eating peaches. And my shampoo girl, she worked with me on like Saturday doing hair. And on Monday, she was supposed to go to work. She didn't show up from work. So her mom went to go check on her, and she was in there dead. Murder. And then the guy that did it, I did his girlfriend hair later on. And she was telling me how he come home one night with blood on his clothes. And she was saying how he had blood all on his clothes. And he ran and put the shower and threw the bloody clothes in the hamper. And told her to get rid of them or something. But I don't know. But anyway, she said she did what she had to do to get him to fall asleep. And she said after he fell asleep, she grabbed her kids and got out of there. Murder. Little towns. I'm gonna talk about that story and the full details of that story in my salon Tales from the Salon videos. I'm not gonna start them yet, but Tales from the Salon. So if you can, get your kids out of these little towns. Get yourself out of these little towns. Go somewhere where you can find a good job, buy a house, and live pretty good. Everybody don't have to struggle. You don't have to struggle. Everybody don't have to struggle. And it's a land of milk and honey for everybody. But if you can, get your kids out of these little towns. Go find you a better job, do better, get off food stamps. Get off food stamps. I done had food stamps before, but once I realized I could make good money, I don't need no food stamps. But sometimes people don't want to get off food stamps, don't want to get off Section 8, which I could never get Section 8. But yeah, get out of them little towns. And my uncle, like I said, I asked him one day, we sitting down. That's another thing. I don't like just sitting down talking to people that don't be talking about nothing. I got to talk to people that's going to shoot me some game. And I like talking to older people, especially if they talking about something. But that was the one advice my uncle gave me. He said, get your kids out of that little town. That was the advice. And I did. And they all, except the little one lives in Spain. My son, he's in D.C., which he owns a home in Michigan. And my 32-year-old, she's here with me in Phoenix. And my oldest daughter is in back on the East Coast too. And she just came back from St. Croix. She lived there for 2 years. But she's moving up on her job. She's doing pretty good. And I be telling her, I'm like, I know you got friends in them little hotels, but their dad still live there. So y'all want to go visit, but just visit. Be careful. Be careful. But the Spirit told me, to get your kids out of here. Get your kids out. Ride down the street one day. Get your kids out of here. And that's what I did. I listened to my intuition. I listened to my spirit. Get your kids out of here. And everybody thought I left my husband because he was cheating or whatever he was out there doing. I don't know what he was doing. It really didn't, to be honest, it really didn't bother me. Whatever he was doing, because I had my house, I had my car, I had my business, but my kids, something was like, If he don't want to follow you, that's on him, but you got it. Something you got to get these kids out of there for them to survive. And this is 20 years later, and I googled this thing, a block up from where we live at, they found a woman dead. But people, when we lived there, people was dying from drugs. Because I believe the human spirit wants to fly. The human spirit wants to fly. And when you don't fly, you leave mentally with the drugs, because it's a high. And then you be around your family, oh, you want drugs, you want drugs. Yeah, because they want to get away. So they can't physically get away, so mentally they get away with the drugs. To get away. That's what it is. They get away with the drugs, so you can't physically leave. And you know what? Moving here, I get high looking at these pretty trees. Look at the pretty trees. Look at the trees, how pretty it is. Get a high because it's something new. Looking at the mountains, you get a high off of life. You don't have time to get on drugs because it's something new every day. Look at that pretty trees. It's a high off of life. It's a high every day, discovering something new. It's a high. So people that can't get that newness from meeting different people, going to places, having new conversations, they mentally check out with the drugs. Same thing, same high. Same high. They never got a chance to move on and see new stuff. So they get high where they at. That's a high, get away. Going on vacation, but mentally. In my opinion, that's what happened. Because seemed like all my family and friends that stayed back in them little towns, they be on drugs. Some of them, especially, I had a couple, my one uncle was on drugs, but he never left that block. Never left that block. And I have letters that he gave me before he died. He gave me his photo album. He had a girlfriend out here in Phoenix. And she used to beg him to come visit. Get out of that little town. And that was 50 years ago. Same thing. But he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave his friends. He didn't want to leave the block. And he died there. You know it's the truth. Think about it. They died there. Never left. Never left. Well, I'm almost to work. Thank you for letting me talk to you about letting your children grow and fly and letting them have opportunities to see something new. That's the high. See something new. See something new. See something new. That girl that died yesterday, earlier this week, bullet holes laying in at the park. Somebody walked by, she was laying there dead. In the park. She was looking for a hide for whatever reason. Her mom said, oh, she's something about her. She loved Melvin. That's what her mom said. Some people, they like, I don't think some people, but some of us just like excitement. Something new. But I tell you, get them kids away. You can find a job somewhere making good money. Get away. And guess what? You be making enough money, you can go back and visit whenever you want. So you're not missing out on nothing. You just come back, go to work, take care of your business. You see, I done was at DC last week for 2 weeks. I done come back to business. Back to business. I was ready to get out of there. I'm like, I'm not missing out on nothing. I was ready to get out of there. I'm ready to come home to my own place. Wasn't missing nothing. Because even here in DC, it's a lot of people on the corner and people on drugs. I'll just say, never had an opportunity. They've had opportunity to reach their full potential, but we get scared or frightened of the unknown. So we don't want to, leave the familiar. And that's all of us. Because we all have the opportunities. But sometimes, I'm telling you, just got to take them. You got to take them. And it's a land flowing with milk and honey. I just told you the lady said she was from Memphis. Said my parents was dead and my brother has a trucking company out here. She said wasn't no need of me sitting there trying to work for somebody else. When I come out here and help my brother with his business. In Memphis, you hear about Young Dolph done got shot at the bakery. Memphis. Yo Gotti brother just got shot at the all-you-can-eat buffet. Memphis. Them little places. Murder. Murder, she wrote. Murder. They don't get a chance to get out. Don't want to leave their friends. Don't want to leave the people. And it be people that know you. Because people that don't know you don't have no reason to kill you. It's some people just don't. They can't see a way out. So they can't see you getting out. So if you can get out, get out. What about Young Dolph? What he was even going back there for? Cookies? You could have Googled them and ordered them online. They done shot him up at the bakery. Jealous over whatever, because he had a fancy car. Begin, get your kids out in them little towns and let them see the world. That's what my uncle said. Let your kids see the world. Let your kids see the world. Let them see life outside of the little towns. All right, the Creator has a land full of milk and honey for us all. And have a nice day. Talk to you later. Get your kids out of them little towns.